for our first, oh, the recording is in progress. So just want to thank everyone for showing up to our first fall meeting. I'm the president, Dave Willer. So I'll just start with just a brief summary of where we are this year with the society. So we've got, we're now going to start our fall program. So we obviously have today we have Roger Bradshaw. Next month, October 28th is our next meeting. It'll be it's entitled Over 50 Years of Artist-Run Culture in Niagara by Stephen Remus of the Niagara Artists Center. And I also want to encourage people to go on to our website. We've really updated over the last year. We got newsletters on there going to early 2000s. So please take a look at our website and you can see how we've updated it, and it's really looks good. So the other thing too I want to mention is for anyone looking memberships, we're always looking to have people be paid members. So to do that, you can go on to our, again, the website, stcatharineshistory.ca. And also for those of you who still get a newsletter, there's always forms there to sign up. So again, we encourage everyone here to pay the membership fee and become a member and help the society. So that's it for me. Oh, and just one thing before I start, I see there's a question here. It says, will this presentation be recorded for viewers that are not able to attend? I think the answer to that is yes. You will notice we've put for some of you may not have seen it, but for others who have, we put presentations on YouTube. So we'll continue to do that as long as we get the consent of the presenters and so on. So that's it for my introduction. So with that, I will leave it to Rochelle to introduce our speaker, Roger Bradshaw, tonight.
Is Elizabeth not here?
I can't see all the names here, but I don't see her.
Okay, excellent. So as we all know, Roger Bradshaw is a board member of the Historical Society of St. Catharines. So I actually have his bio on my desktop, and that's a little bit above me, so that's why you'll see me looking up. So in 2001, after 38 years of service, Roger retired from General Motors, and he was working as a financial analyst. Since then, he has been on a quest, a show and tell quest about the history of the Niagara Peninsula, and he's doing it one book at a time. In 2009, after 5 years of research and photography, Roger self-published a pictorial book on the historic Welland canals. In 2012, after 3 years of research and attending battle reenactments, he produced a pictorial book of all the battles and forts in Niagara's War of 1812 in the time period for the War of 1812 bicentennial. So he did that just in time, which is spectacular. In 2019, Roger teamed up with none other than John Burtniak to show the history of Port Dalhousie in the book, Postcards from Port Dalhousie. And now in 2021, also with John Burtniak, they are publishing Driving Niagara, the early years. Also in a 5-year span, starting in 2013, Roger has been the tour photographer Batman on Canadian battlefield tours into France, Belgium, Italy, and Turkey. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Roger Bradshaw.
Well, thank you, Rochelle. Very good. What you see in front of you is an example of a road prior to the Department of Public Highways of Ontario being established to oversee matters pertaining to the road transportation in 1916. On our journey through Niagara, we are going to travel on 3 major highways. Number 8 opened in 1918, number 20 opened in 1930, and the Queen EW opened in 1940. The majority of pictures are from Society member John Burtniak's extensive postcard collection, supplemented by photos from the Kings Highway website and others. Back to the Future, a 1905 version of the electric Tesla. Buses were popular in the early years to get around the peninsula. Excuse me. Passengers in St. Catharines loading onto a bus in 1933. Let's start our journey along the number 8 highway. The history of Highway 8 dates back virtually to the dawn of the provincial highway network. Until 1917, the province of Ontario did not own any highways. The increase in long-distance motorized road transportation brought about a need for the provincial government to assume trunk roads of significant importance as provincial highways in July of 1918. Here is an example of a trunk road in 1912 that later in 1918 became the new Hamilton to Queenston Highway, also known as the Niagara-Hamilton Highway and Niagara Highway. In 1925, a route numbering system was introduced for Ontario's provincial highways. The Hamilton-Queenston Highway became Provincial Highway 8. This was renamed Kings Highway 8 in 1930. We will start our journey on Kings Highway 8, traveling west to east. This route was lined with cabins, cottages, inns, autotels, auto parks, tourist camps, and restaurants. Starting our journey at Ridges Campground on the Niagara Highway at Stoney Creek. In Winona, we have White City for tourists. On Hamilton Niagara Highway dates this business card between 1918 and 1925. Along the way, you'll pass the Innsville Hotel, meals, rooms, and cabins. Here are the cabins. Like how many people do these cabins hold? Shady restrooms and cottages on the Niagara Highway. Passing by the White House on the way to Grimsby. Arriving in Grimsby, are those two cars attempting to pass? Blossom Sunday Picnic, May of 1925, in the Garden of Canada. Buildings haven't changed, but the signs have. The Village Inn in downtown Grimsby. Another view of the Village Inn and the downtown. While we're in the area, let's take a side trip to Grimsby Park. And Grimsby Beach, the pride of Canada. Most of the gingerbread houses are still here today. It's a nice side trip to take today as I look at them. Boating was popular in the 1920s. Look at the people lining the shore. Steamship Macassa ready to take passengers to Hamilton Beach and Toronto. Back on the Niagara Highway, passing by the Red Dragon Inn. Here's an architect's drawing of the Red Dragon Inn complex. English Inns Limited planned a series of motorist inns at selected sites between Toronto and Buffalo. Unfortunately, the year 1929 and the looming depression was a bad time to launch such grandiose plans. Only 3 were built: the Pig and Whistle at Bronte, the Red Dragon that you just saw at Grimsby, and the Black Horse at Stamford. After the Hamilton, Grimsby, and Beamsville Electric Railway ceased operation in 1931, some enterprising soul converted several radio cars into cabins and a diner, creating the Radial Village Tourist Court near Grimsby. Soon you will pass Taylor's Automobile Hotel. Fish, steak, and chicken dinners, 50 cents and up. The accommodation is a treehouse. We're now entering Beansville. This is King Street. I was just wondering, what does a passing streetcar do to those horses? Don't mess with a Hamilton, Grimsby, and Beansville radial car, obviously. There's a streetcar along King Street. The Royal Air Force established a flying training school at Beansville during World War I. I think this pilot failed his landing test. At its close, various buildings were sold off or torn down, and some were converted to a new use, such as the Aviation Tourist Camp. There's a Maplewood Tourist Camp near Grimsby, as this postcard says. Next postcard says it's near Beansville. They did like tree houses in the 30s. I believe you bring your own tent. And driving by vineyards as workers harvest grapes. A little different today. Now we are nearing Vineland. Nearby Vineland Station with fruit ready to be shipped to Toronto. When Niagara was a fruit basket of Canada. Look at all those peaches. Vineland store consisting of dry goods, boots and shoes, post office, and general store. This is at the corner of Victoria Ave and Highway number 8. Tourist home and cabins. Life was simpler back then. Take a look at the phone number, Vineland 74. Stop at Santuli's tourist home and fruit market for some fresh fruit. Driving through Main Street, Jordan. Note the Imperial Bank of Canada on the left. The building's still there, but not as a bank. Here's a photo of the same intersection about the same time. A major snowstorm in March of 1936 stopped all traffic on the number 8 highway at Jordan. Here's Moyer's Garage. Take a look at the tow truck in the bottom right corner. It's an Ontario Motor League tow truck, the forerunner of CAA. The Jordan Inn, noted for T-bone steaks. The gas station and cabins along the way. There's a Pleasure Valley camp in Jordan. Have a meal and get gas. Now the Dwarf Village Inn. We knew it as Butterballs and the flea market. Famous half a fried chicken for 55 cents. Known from coast to coast. hot meals, and 4.4 beer and ale. Across the road is Hannigan's Tourist Camp. Hannigan's has the full course meals for 40 cents. We are close, so let's travel north to Jordan Harbor prior to the Queen E.W. Note the bridge over the 20-mile creek. The caption on the bottom right reads, fishing, bathing, and boating. There's the Jordan Harbor community prior to the Queen E. They called it the park. That was a nice little cottage community. So back to Highway number 8 and passing by the Black Duck Camp on the way to St. Catharines. Arriving in St. Catharines, the coming metropolis. This postcard is postmarked January the 10th, 1914. Photo of the Burgoyne Bridge carrying Highway number 8 traffic into St. Catharines. Note an early attempt at cut and paste on car in foreground. Car is on a platform and it is sideways. There's St. Paul Street with Ontario Street on the left. St. Paul Street looking west. St. Paul Street was King's Highway number 8. And here's St. Paul Street looking east. You'll recognize some stores such as Bixby Beatties selling Remington typewriters. More stores and a streetcar. This is why they built the Queen E.W. Quite the traffic jam on our main street. King's Highway 8 continues along Queenston Street. This is the Queenston Street Bridge over the 3rd Canal at Victoria Lawn Cemetery in 1928. Arriving at the St. David's intersection, looking east, the same intersection in 1927, looking east, but the postcard says west. This is this is York Road and 4 Mile Creek Road. Note the service station on the left. That's German service station and refreshment stand. The famous Old Mill Inn. Why was it famous? Marilyn Monroe and Joe DiMaggio dined here prior to their marriage while Marilyn was filming the movie Niagara in 1952. Here's Ike's Old Mill Inn business card. If you have to go to the washroom, use your Leave My Drink Alone card. Log Cabin Tourist Camp on Highway number 8. Cabins even have toilets. The log cabin also has mortar robes. Passing by the Fisher's Cherry Grove camp, and the Hillbrow Tourist Camp. The Gibbons Inn, accommodation for over 100 persons. Cabins for 50 cents, 75 cents, or $1. Those were the days. Benner's Tourist Camp. Cabins were small back then. Business card indicates they have running water and flush toilets. Here's Clark's Tourist Camp in Stanford. Hard to imagine a family fitting into these cabins. This is 1927. One day it's the Black Horse English Inn and Cottages. Remember English Inns Limited? The next, it's the Red Cask Inn and Bungalows. Same picture. The Queen's Hotel in Stanford, still there today as Queen's House Tavern. The Queen's Hotel was built in 1872, here's right here, was moved from its original location opposite the Fallsview Bridge, also known as the Honeymoon Bridge, in 1927. I love this photographer. It tells you the exact day, Sunday, May the 15th, 1927, the time of day, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, where at the Fallsview Bridge, Canada, and it's raining. I wish all the pictures were like that. Uncle Tom likes to paint biplanes in the sky. See what I mean? Stop at Charlie's for a T-bone steak or chicken dinner prior to arriving in Niagara Falls. Finally arrive in Niagara Falls and stay at Kieran's tourist accommodation and fill up your cart. We're now going to take a trip along Kings Highway 20. It was a major collector highway which once ran along the entire length of the Niagara Peninsula between Hamilton and the Honeymoon Bridge in Niagara Falls. The history of Highway 20 dates back to 1930, when a new provincial highway was designated across Wentworth, Lincoln, and Welland counties to alleviate the chronic traffic congestion on Highway number 8. Most of the former route retains the same layout and character as the highway did in the 30s, reminiscent of a bygone era. Various pictures will show travel along the Mid-Niagara corridor on trunk roads through villages prior to establishing Highway 20. We start our Highway 20 journey at Burlington Beach and head east. Now, of course, there's a skyway over the Burlington Channel, and it's now renamed the Queen E. Back in the day, it was the 20. Burlington Beach was a pauper beach in the early years. The beach strip, circa 1910, the note locals using the rail tracks as a road. pre-Burlington Skyway days, the swing bridge with the Royal Hambledon Yacht Club in the foreground. Another view of the swing bridge carrying Highway 20 across the Burlington Channel. Travel 16 miles south through Smithville, the hub of the Niagara Peninsula. Here is St. Catharines Street. St. Catharines Street turns into Griffin Street, which is the main street of Smithville. Still on Griffin Street with Murgatroyd's General Store on the right. Thriving town of Smithville. Griffin Street with the Union Bank of Canada on the right. There are a few inns and cabins along Highway 20. Here's the Wayside Inn, 3 miles west of Smithville. Then there is Limberlost Lodge and Cabins. Same design as the inns of Innsville near Winona. I don't know why. We then travel to bustling Bismarck. Leaving Bismarck, take a short drive to Wellandport. Looks like a two-horse town. This is Main Street East in Wellandport. Which is the main street through Wellandport. There's a great shot of the town. Heading east from Wellandport, you will arrive on Main Street, which is Canberra Road in Fenwick. Here you will find Wary & Son and the Union Bank of Canada. There's another look of Canberra Road in Fenwick. Pattison & Son. I thought it was a general store, but a closer look says it's a gent store. Now we enter Ridgeville. Here is F.C. Williams General Store and Post Office. F.C. Williams moved and he now calls his establishment a quality store and post office. On to Fawn Hill via the Canberra Road. Here's Canberra Road East in Fawn Hill. And another vintage shot of Fawn Hill. Stop for a hot dog and Coke at Ashton's Playground on Canberra Road. Drive past Turner's Corners on the way to Ellenburg. Then through Ellenburg, if the bridge is down. Past the former Black Horse Inn, where William Hamilton Merritt and company gathered after turning side for the first Welland Canal at Ellenburg. Past Jack Brothers Garage at Black Horse Corners, heading for Niagara Falls. Stop at Uncle Sam's Hotel on Lundy's Lane for half a fried chicken dinner for 50 cents. We have arrived at the Honeymoon Bridge in Niagara Falls. This is a 1937 photo of the distance sign at the Honeymoon Bridge exit. You'll note all major cities are connected to Niagara Falls. The Queen E was built as a superhighway without cabins, inns, etc. So the first part of the Queen E journey will be a history lesson. By the 1930s, intercity traffic volumes between Toronto and Hamilton had begun to overwhelm Highway 2 and to a lesser extent, Highway 5. Since there was little room available to widen Highway 2, a new highway corridor was planned. The Middle Road, a minor rural road located about 2 kilometers north of Highway 2, was selected as the route for the new highway. Construction began in the early 1930s to convert this rural road between Toronto and Burlington into a 4-lane superhighway. The new Middle Road Highway was completed between Toronto and Hamilton in the summer of 1937. In 1937, construction began on a new dual highway from Hamilton to Niagara Falls. Rather than improve highways 8 and 20, Ontario opted for a superhighway between Hamilton and Niagara Falls to be called New Niagara Falls Highway. But as yet, Ontario's superhighway had neither name or number. Every other stretch of road incorporated into the provincial network, known as the King's Highways after 1930, had at least been given a route number. Perhaps a superhighway deserved more than a mere number. But what to call it? Both the new Middle Road Highway and the new Niagara Falls Highway sounded too prosaic. Then in the early months of 1939, Ontario officials came up with their single greatest inspiration. King George VI and his consort, Queen Elizabeth, were scheduled to tour the country in May and June. Why not commemorate this visit by naming the new highway the Queen Elizabeth Way? Yes, the Queen gave her permission. Yes, she would be pleased to dedicate the road when the royal tour passed through St. Catharines on June the 7th, 1939. Along Niagara Street on the northeastern edge of St. Catharines, the royal car slowed down at a place where 2 blue and silver pylons marked the route of the new superhighway. The Queen E was still a gravel road at the time, which is right here. And of course, there's no overpass at this time. As the car broke an electric beam, draped Union Jacks parted to reveal the inscription, the Queen Elizabeth Way. Here we are right here. And you get your bearings, Niagara Street curves here, Blind Street comes in here, and Facer Street comes along here. By 1940, a bridge was built over the Queen E at Niagara Street. Not very busy in those days. Over a 10-week period in the late spring and early summer of 1940, 58 kilometers were paved, completing the 4-lane highway between Hamilton and Niagara Falls. On August 23, 1940, Highways Minister Thomas McWeston traveled to St. Catharines to officially open the Toronto to Niagara Falls portion of the Queen Elizabeth Way to through traffic. The ceremony took place at the Henley Bridge, the most beautifully sculpted of all the original Queen E bridges, designed to honor the June 1939 royal dedication and to commemorate the August 1940 official opening. Construction on an extension towards Fort Erie, which became known as the Queen Elizabeth Extension, was underway in 1940, but the ongoing war delayed its completion. As an interim measure, the unpaved highway was opened during the summer of 1941. 2 lanes of pavement were laid in 1946, but the 4-lane highway was not fully paved until 1956. 1956. By the late 1970s, the Queenie was transformed into a controlled access highway. Now let's go back to Burlington Beach and start our Queenie journey here. Pictured as a beach strip in 1956, prior to constructing the Burlington Skyway. Note the Queenie on the left. The Burlington Skyway prior to opening in October 1958. The vessel moving into Lake Ontario will hold up traffic on the Queenie. The Plaza Restaurant and Soda Bar at Hamilton Beach. The dreaded Stoney Creek traffic circle, built in 1939 to connect with Highway 20, thankfully removed in the mid-1970s. Queenie W at 20 Mile Creek, Jordan Harbor in November of 1939, still a gravel road. Prior to the Queenie being transformed into a controlled access highway, you could park your car on the shoulder and have a picnic, as seen here at Jordan Harbor in July of 1954. Try doing this today. How about the motor hotels? Here's Prudhomme's Place in its heyday. Here is a 1961 playbill for Prudhomme's Garden Center and Theater with the top stars of the day. I'm sure some of you will recognize some of the stars. Note the 1961 theater prices, ranging from $1.50 to $3. Here's the 1963 playbill. Note Mickey Rooney, Pat O'Brien, Raymond Burr, and others, starring from June to the end of August. Then there's the beacon, shown here along the Queenie near Jordan Harbor. It was established in the early 1950s. The beacon became a popular motor hotel, restaurant, and banquet venue. Here's the Queenie at Homer prior to the Skyway being built. Look at the traffic jam. The Skyway in September 1963, prior to the October opening to traffic. Going through St. Catharines to Homer and stopping at Louis for a hamburger, which was at the Queenie and Highway number 8. Finished eating at Louis and proceeded over the Homer Bridge, heading for Niagara Falls and passing the Bob Lowe Crest cabins. And note the lighting on the Queenie back in those days. Arrived at Niagara Falls. All 3 highways led to Niagara Falls by 1940. Thank you for spending time with me tonight. I will entertain any questions you have at this time.
Roger, could you
Yes.
could you tell me what a motor robe is?
Well, back in the day, Gail, it was kind of like a kimono, like usually they're white,
Mm.
I'm I'm not sure what else I could say. It's just a long, it was a long kind of a coat. You know,
Oh, it's like a bathrobe?
very similar. A lot of times the cars back in those days are open, and they would use it just to keep the dust off and so on. But also when they're in the motel, they would use it as a, well, kimono, you know.
My name is Russ. What is Stamford called today? Is it still called Stamford? I don't recognize it.
Well, I believe it's still called Stanford section of Niagara Falls,
Ah, it's a part of Niagara
just like
Falls.
Port Dalhousie, Meriton's part of St. Catharines.
Okay, fair enough. And where is Wellandport part of Welland?
Basically, no. It might sound that way, but it's on the Welland River. So, you know.
Oh,
What is he saying?
Wellandport, is saying Welland.
To answer the gentleman's question, I have a friend who lives in Wellandport, and his address is technically Smithville.
Okay. Yep.
But I have a question of my own for you, Roger.
Okay.
The last picture you showed of Hannigan's
Yep.
on Highway 8,
Yep.
double check whether or not it's actually the Butterballs, because if you look at the highway bend on it and the background scenery, I believe you're on the north side of Highway 8 looking across at Butterballs as the road curls up and to the left.
Could be. I just going by what was on the postcard, but yeah, could be.
Just as you go through it.
Yeah. Well, Hannigan's was definitely across from Butterballs.
Okay.
The you know, the cabins was on the creek there, you know, the 20-mile creek.
Yeah.
I have a question. Can you hear me? Brenda? I'm Brenda.
Okay.
I don't know why my video did not come back, but anyway. You came through the Allenberg so quickly. On your left-hand side was the upper house.
Yes.
I guess you don't have a picture of that?
I didn't have a picture. It is a famous house at close to that. If I had one, I could have put it in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 1812, there were soldiers there that were billeted at that house in 1812.
Okay. Yep. I've heard that. Yes. Yes.
I don't know why I'm not there. Funny. Okay, I can't.
Roger,
Yes.
is the book available yet? At any place?
Not quite. COVID and John's health took a hit. We're hoping to have it published in time for Christmas. If anybody wants to, you know, to get one, you know, and I'm not too sure where you're going to get it. If I have it at the time, you could get it from me. Most of the society members have my email address or my telephone number. Hopefully in, you know, mid-November, we hope to have it published. It's almost ready now.
is it on this subject? I missed the very beginning.
On,
Be a nice Christmas present. They'll get the book. No, I don't hear anything.
I'm sorry.
There's Brenda again.
Is the book on this subject, tonight's subject?
Yes, what I've shown you here tonight was about 170 pictures. The book will have 270 pictures, 150 pages. And the text is done by John Burtniak, who is very knowledgeable, you know, on history. And I think he talks his own language. You'll get a kick out of his text on every picture.
Before the meeting ends, Roger, if you could type your email into chat, I could grab it. And anybody else who wanted to be in contact with you about the book, I definitely would want a copy.
Okay, in chat.
Yeah,
I
you
go
click on
chat?
chat and you just type in your email address at the bottom right.
You're here.
Oh, type, okay, yep. Here it goes.
Here, she's writing this to me. I believe the upper house wasn't built until about 1818. However, the DQ house and John Brown house had been built before the war of 1812.
Okay. Super, good idea.
Question, Roger?
Where did
Okay, Gail?
you put it?
Yeah, I noticed the Red Dragon Inn.
Yep.
In
Where's his?
There was 3 of those.
Do you know anything about this? Do you know whether the owners were Welsh?
Oh, that I don't know.
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
Are you, where are you coming from, Gail? Or-
Welsh background.
Okay.
Oh, he said he put his email in here. I don't even know how to get a hold of these people anymore.
Are there any further questions?
Roger, where you typed your email address in, you need to hit return down there because
Yeah.
it hasn't come up yet.
Yeah, I haven't got it.
Is that right?
I'm in the background here. That's you.
I went to everyone.
Oh, did you hit return?
What's going on?
I don't know.
I was looking before.
I should note that it said there that we will put information in the newsletter too. It was mentioned in one of the comments, but that's another way we can connect with members so let them know when it's available.
I guess I better become a member.
That's why we do that.
Oh, they're
Good
on
idea.
to our tricks.
I'm a great fan of you guys, and Roger, it was a great presentation.
Oh, thank you.
I'm heavily involved with the Toronto Railway Museum and the very active CRHA Niagara Division, which deals with railway history in Niagara
Okay.
region. And I just, you really filled in a lot for me.
Oh, great. Great.
Oh, there it is. Roger Bradshaw.
There we go.
Oh, shit, no.
Did you get it?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep, it's showing up now, Roger.
Oh,
It's there.
it's slow.
All good.
Yeah, that's all.
There it is. Already.
Rochelle, Roger, I thoroughly enjoyed your presentation.
Well, thank you,
And
Rochelle.
I have to admit something, so I'm going to embarrass myself in front of everybody, and I don't mind. I
Okay.
had no idea about Prudham's. I thought it was just a restaurant. I had no idea so many celebrities went there, so every time I attend a talk, I learn something new, and that's what I learned. But I love the
Well, there you
pictures.
go.
But I had no idea about Prudham's.
It was in the
stuff.
heydays in the 60s. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but still, I had no
Well, you
idea.
weren't born then.
Mickey Rooney. But you know what? I'm not afraid to call myself out when I don't know something, and I did not know that. Very
Good.
impressed.
Good.
Okay, I don't know if there's anything else. I think that's all the questions. So I just want to thank Roger for his presentation. You saw from the comments, a lot of people liked it, and he had a lot of pictures. It's actually shocking to see how many pictures we saw. And it's really interesting to picture how they look then and picture how they look now. And you can just really see all the differences. So anyways, on that basis, again, thank you for the presentation. And for the members, October 28th, again, it's always the fourth Thursday in October will be the next presentation. And I encourage everyone to look on our website, catharines.history.ca. And also, again, for membership, to those who aren't already, we really would like you to become a member. You can go to the website. And for those who were members before and still get the newsletter, you could also see information on becoming a member in our newsletter. On that note, I will leave everyone to be and hope to see you next month. Bye now.
Thank you all.
Bye, everybody.
Great presentation.
Roger.
Bye, Roger.
Bye-bye.